Okay. All right, we're gonna get started. I am standing out here with a lot of noise, so hopefully, just let me know if you guys have any trouble hearing. We haven't had any problems in the past with this microphone. So, hello, Algona third graders. I am Brenda Mormon, and I work for North Central Iowa Ag in the Classroom. And I'm out, obviously, on a farm. I'm going to turn the camera around in a minute. I'm out here with Jeff Schutjer. So he's going to tell you a little bit about his operation and harvest, and we'll get in the combine a little bit and go for a ride. So hang on a second, and I'll get my camera turned around.
Hi there. I assume everybody can hear me. I'm Jeff Schutjer. I farm here south of Titonka with my son Derek and my wife Brenda. And we have Gary Hoffman, my cousin. He helps us farm, and right now he's running the grain cart. So as we go on, you'll meet my son Derek in the combine, and you meet Gary, who's driving the grain cart. This farm now belongs to my son. He just bought it this year from me. I bought it from my dad, and my dad bought it from my grandpa, and my grandpa bought it from his dad. So this is like the 5th generation. So it truly is a family farm. It's been in our family for 100 years, 105 to be exact, and we're very proud of it. We raise good crops here, and it's something that's been passed on to the generation, and hopefully it'll get passed on after I'm gone too. One of the questions you guys asked was, how many acres do we farm? My son and I farm about 2,000 acres, and then with the custom farming we do, just short of 2,500 acres. My son also does spraying in the summertime, so for 2 weeks, that's all we do is spray, and I think he told me he sprayed 20,000 acres, something like that. So we stay pretty busy in the summertime. I used to have dairy cattle, don't have them anymore. I retired from that about 15, 20 years ago. But I did have 24 dairy cows I used to milk and bale hay and all those types of things. Gary just returned, my cousin, just retired from raising pigs. And he had 1,200 head hog barns that he did research on. So though we don't have any livestock now, we used to have livestock. What we're doing now is we're combining corn. As you can see, I've got some corn here. Did somebody say that wasn't corn? There must be a young farmer in the audience. That's right, this isn't corn, this is soybeans. This is, oops, excuse me. This is what we had in the field a 3 weeks ago, and we combined these soybeans out, and we'll pick a few of them. I think you've probably seen them at Ag in the Classroom, but this is what a soybean looks like. The pods are nice and dry. They just pop right open. And there's your beans right there. Sorry about the dirty hands. There you go. There's your beans right there. Those, we had a few left around the end rows. I was able to steal them this morning. Otherwise, we've been done with beans for a couple weeks. Actually, we're doing corn. This is a 2-bushel bucket, and it's about half full. So I'd say there's about a bushel of corn in there. That truck behind us, right here, you can see it's got corn in it. This truck will hold about 600 of those full of corn. So that's about 1,200 bushel legally. So that's what we do. We combine the corn, we put it in the truck. We're kind of doing this backwards, but we put it in the truck, then we run it in the auger, and it goes up into the bin. But I probably will want to show you here's a ear of corn. I cut it off of the stalk. So then you peel the husks open, and there's your ear of corn right there. When that goes into the combine, the combine rubs it. There's 2 elements, or the cylinder goes around, and then the concave just stays in one place, so it rubs kind of like this, and that's how it gets the kernels off. The same way I'm doing it, only mechanically. That's how the kernels come off in the combine. So we take these kernels right here, and we put them in the truck. We'll go through that later. But after we put it in the truck, then we bring it up into my drying site here, which is ready to go. We've got a couple of bins right here. These the ones with a funnel bottom, those are our wet corn holding bins. After I run this up, we'll walk around and I'll show you what happens to corn after we dump it in there. I'll run a little corn up in the auger right now just so you can see how that works. Some of you may know you should stay away from augers, but as you can see, the augers are down here, and that's the only way to get from one side to the other is this way. If any of you recognize me from farm safety camp, that's a no-no to go in there or to go down here, but over here, it's okay because this is all protected. There you can see the corn coming out of the hopper of the semi, and they drop right into that auger, and then the auger takes it up through here, dumps it into the main auger, and then that takes us way up to the top and dumps it into that hopper there, and then takes it over to right now we're taking it to the other bin, the farther one. So that's how that works. So we fill those up during the day so they can dry all night. Take me a little longer to unload that truck, but you probably don't want to see me do that. So we'll move right along here. The funnel bottom tanks, bins. There's an auger right there that kind of up to the top of the dryer. It's running right now. It keeps filling this dryer up with corn, and as it drops through the dryer really slow, it takes like a half an hour for it to get from the top to the bottom. There's a big fan with a burner on it that blows hot air in there, and it dries the corn out. When it's done drying, it comes out the back of the dryer and drops into this auger right here. You can see where it's turning. And that corn is augered way up to the top, and then it's distributed to all the bins. That's where we keep our dry corn at this time. Later in the year, like in the spring or even next summer, we'll clean our bins out and take them to market where they feed animals with it. They don't need the corn right now because there's all kinds of corn coming from all kinds of farmers. So by keeping the corn like this, we can use that to we get paid a little bit more, so that so we get paid a little more for bringing it in later when they need it, instead of taking it in now when nobody really needs it because there's so much around. At this point, I'll see if I can get Derek to bring the combine over here. Derek, you want to bring the combine up here? Somebody asked me earlier how much that combine weighs, and so I had to look it up because really you don't ever weigh a combine. And it's 42,000 pounds, which would be 21 tons. It has a 500 horsepower engine in it. And it's I'm not exactly sure how fast it can harvest, but I know we'll take out 20 to 2,000 to 3,000 bushel an hour. So that would be right in that 10 acres an hour, 10 to 15 acres an hour. I know we can combine faster, but that's as fast as we can haul it away. You want to bring the combine up here, and then we'll show them how the header works. Derek's going to bring the combine up here. He's the one who does all the combining. I haul the corn and run the dryer, and then Gary, of course, runs the grain cart. But works out pretty good that way. He's pretty good at. He's a pretty good driver, and he can stand the long hours too. So there it is. First of all, I'll show you how it works. There you go. If you look in here, you can see there's some ears in here already, but the corn stalk comes in the front. He drives to the field, so it comes into here. When it gets to here, you can see these rollers here. They pull the stalk down, and everything will go down between these plates right here, except the ear, because the ear is too big and it's hard. So it gets caught. It won't go through. So then it stays on top here. These chains deliver it to that auger. The auger delivers it to the middle of the combine. That chain takes it up into the threshing element. You remember when I was rubbing my hands together and rubbing the corn off? That's what this combine does at that point. Then behind that, there's a fan that blows the dust and leaves and stuff away from it, so you get just corn in the tank. But what I'm going to do, there's also on this header, you can just see maybe here, there's a knife that goes around. Let me point it out for you. This knife right here, it's like a lawnmower. So it goes, the stalks go through, then that lawnmower goes around and chops up the stalks too. It helps them so they don't get stuck in our tillage equipment in the spring. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to back up here. I've got a couple of stalks here. In the meantime, you can see that Gary is getting ready to unload, and you can watch that a little bit. I think there's room in there. Maybe there isn't. Can't unload it. There's too much corn in it already. Derek, you want to start the combine up, and I'll just feed a few stalks in there, okay? This is something that you really should never do, but for demonstration. Oh, sorry, I was over here while you were watching Gary unload corn. We'll see if he spills any, because usually that's the trick when the truck's full, it's to not spill any. But Gary, he's done it quite a while, so he's pretty good about keeping the corn in the truck and not on the ground. Derek has the combine going. You can see how the gathering chains are moving backwards. If you look down in there, you can see the rollers moving around. So we'll pretend like he's driving forward. Here come the stalks. They get in there. Boom. They're gone. The ears go in. For those of you who aren't watching, we'll do it again. Here he comes. He goes through there. He's in there, and boom, they're gone. The reason you should never ever try that at home is because it can pull you. It takes it so fast, it can tip you into there, and then you would be the one who would be going through the combine. That's not a good thing. So I guess with that, I will. Can't think of any questions that I should answer. Tell you what.
10 minutes left. I go in
Yep. I think what we'll do is you guys can ride along with Derek, and you can see the corn coming into the combine building up in the tank, and then Gary will come out and pick up the corn before it runs out of the tank.
We'll probably make a round and then dump on the go, Gary.
Oh. Thank you. Right. I haven't seen you for about a year or so.
All right.
So this is Derek. This is Jeff's son. Get to see Derek about once a year during harvest. And we're thankful that he takes the time for us to come and visit.
Absolutely.
Wow, Dusty.
Very dusty.
This is what the corn looks like after we run it through the combine. So you can see one of them is white and one of them is red. And that tells us that there's two different hybrids types of corn out in the field here. So you can see the corn, like Jeff showed you, goes down through the head. It captures the ears, and the ears go underneath of our feet here. They get tumbled around a whole bunch really quickly, and then it knocks all the kernels off of the cob, like these, and then this is what they look like after they come out the back of the combine. And then all the corn gets captured and stored behind us until we dump on the grain cart.
So there you can see it actually coming into the tank or the hopper of the combine. You want to talk a little bit about?
Sure. So this is the monitor I run. It's from John Deere. So it tells me all sorts of information about the moisture, the yield, how many pounds we pulled off of the field. And we use that in order to gauge, information for next year for decision making, and then also for our own knowledge, how many pounds we can sell or bushels at the co-op. And it tells us what we planted, like these two different hybrids are on different parts of the farm, and it tells us where they're at, so then we can tell which ones were better or worse. And like right here, you can see I have a camera set up on top of the hopper, so that I can tell when the combine is full before I run it all over the top of the cab, which happens sometimes. So you try to avoid that.
So you said there's two different hybrids out in this field. How do you determine what you're going to plant where?
So for us, and for most farmers, it's which hybrids do better on certain soil types. So this is a pretty dark soil type field. So we try and plant hybrids that are, better yielding, because we have a better opportunity to get more bushels. So that we try and plant them side by side to see which ones are better. And if one does better than the next, we try and plant one, that same one next year as planned.
How long have you been farming?
I've been farming about 12 years, and I came home from college and started farming with Dad and my grandpa at the time. And my grandpa retired, and I had an opportunity to start farming, and Dad let me rent some of his equipment, and now I own some of my own equipment.
What's your favorite part of farming?
Probably the best part is working with family. And we farm, say this farm for 100 years. It's been in our family. So it's neat to be able to pass on the torch, as they say, from one generation to the next, and have something to give to them. And that's kind of what's really enjoyable is doing it for a long time and seeing the progress we made over that time. And we're going to dump corn from the hopper here at the combine right into the grain cart. So then the idea is that the grain cart can keep the combine moving and the combine never has to stop. So in theory, we should be able to combine at least 11 acres an hour all day long, as long as we're in the field.
How late do you go at night usually?
Usually we get done combining maybe after dark sometime, typically before 10 o'clock. It depends if we're harvesting corn or soybeans and how well it's working. If it's working really well and we need to get done, say if there's a rain coming, then we'll work a little later. We'll go to 10 or 11 at night. But the last few nights with corn harvest, we've been done early because we don't have any space in the bins. And once the bins are full, we can't harvest any more corn. So we're usually done maybe around 8 o'clock.
Are you having to dry all your corn this year?
No, we've dried probably 75% of our corn. So, which is nice because it makes it easier when we don't have to dry corn. But when we are drying corn, typically that means there's a better yield with the corn that is wet. So it's kind of it's a convenience thing for us to not have to dry corn at the beginning of the year anyway.
Maybe your dad said this, I don't remember. How many acres do you guys farm?
We farm somewhere around 2,000 acres, a little bit more. And we do some work for neighbors and as long as well as our own work that we do on our own farm. So we try and stay pretty busy throughout the year.
So what do you do when you get done with harvest? What do farmers do in the winter time?
So when we're done with harvest, after we get all of our equipment cleaned up and all of our nutrients applied for next year, during the winter time, you spend a lot of time fixing equipment and making decisions for next year. So then that's when we decide what corn hybrids or bean varieties we're going to plant for next year on our farms, where they work out best and which ones perform well this year, and make decisions that way.
I'm gonna see how much time we have here. Okay. We have just a few minutes left here. How big is this field that we're in?
So this field here is 108 acres. Takes us about a day and a half to harvest if we're nonstop running. And it probably will make around 25,000 bushels of corn. We'll know for sure when we get done with it, but that's what we're guessing we'll probably make. And here at the inside, we can hold somewhere around, I want to say 120 to 130,000 bushels. So we use other fields of ours and we bring the corn here to store over the winter time or whenever we need to sell grain to another market if there's a better price nearby or to the local co-op, which typically the corn will be used to either make ethanol or feed pigs or chickens or other animals.
You don't haul directly to an ethanol plant?
Typically, we have before. Sometimes we do, but the last 2 years we haul directly to the chicken plant in Corwith. They use our corn to feed chickens there.
Your dad said that the grain dryer called him at 4 o'clock this morning saying it wasn't working.
Yes.
How does that work?
Yes, so it's run on an app or a call system, and when it has a problem, it automatically sends a text message to myself and my dad, letting us know what happened, and then we can come show up and fix whatever problem it has, whether it's out of corn or something shut off or something plugged up or ran over. It'll tell us, and then so we can come over and fix it before we have too big of a problem. Where we have to clean up a lot of corn or have a big breakdown or a big fix anyway.
So it's interesting to think about all the skills that a farmer has to have. Right?
Yes.
You have to be
Yes.
mechanical.
Yes, and it's changed over the last even 10 years since I've started. It's a lot more technology oriented. You have to be able to fix things, but decision making and data and technology is becoming one of the biggest factors in what we do. So, and it's kind of neat to see it kind of evolving and changing over time anyway.
Okay. I think that probably about does it. I think it's about 3. So we'll wrap this up. If you guys have any questions, have your teachers email them to me and we'll be happy to get them answered. Do you have any right now that you want to ask Derek, or are we good to go? Mrs. Carroll, what do you think?
I think we're good to go, Brenda.